Listen to the witnesses. This text is a fertile plot containing many seeds of divine truth. These seeds have germinated and brought forth roots which have blessed the hearts and challenged the minds of God's servants through the ages. The cloud of witnesses which surrounds us contains all the saints who have preceded us. Some have surmised that they are eyewitnesses, spectators, beholders of that which transpires on the earth today. Those who believe in the communion of the saints have been challenged by the thought that loved ones continue to be concerned about the welfare in the here and now. Specifically, it would seem that the inspired writer has marshaled a stream of saints to the witness stand who have a testimony that is desperately needed by his hearers. The figure of speech, which is used, has an athletic connotation. It is written from the perspective of the center of the arena of a great amphitheater. The saints are engaged in what appears to be a gladiator conflict in which death appears to be certain. The seats of the amphitheater are filled, not with idle spectators who have a thirst for blood, but rather they are filled with the heroes of the faith who have trusted God and have persevered even to the point of martyrdom. They are in the bleachers, not merely to watch, but to share and to challenge and to inspire their successors, now living, to continue to hold to their faith and to do the best in the struggle of life. If we would grasp the full importance of this challenge, we need to recognize that the word witness is a word with a legal connotation. In the New Testament, this word is used of the testimony of the early disciples as if they were standing in a court of law with truth pertinent to the case under consideration. A witness is required and permitted to bear testimony concerning facts which he has seen or experienced. His testimony must follow out of a first-hand personal knowledge. And the writer of the text visualizes this cloud of witnesses as testators rather than spectators. The unsaved world was the jury who listened to the testimony of the early Christian witnesses and decided on the basis of that testimony as to whether or not Jesus of Nazareth was indeed the Christ of God. In the words of the text, those who have a testimony are bearing a witness to believers to encourage them to remain faithful and steadfast and to persevere. There is an illustrious list of honorable witnesses. Hebrews chapter 11 has been called Faith's Hall of Fame. Actually, It contains a list of the witnesses with an abbreviated biographical sketch and with a hint concerning the testimony which they would give to those who now find themselves in the midst of the battle of life. Abel would encourage us by faith to give God our best. Remember the story of Cain and Abel? Enoch would challenge us to walk with God in the midst of the crooked and perverse generation. Noah would challenge us to escape the consequences of sin. Abraham would challenge us to obey God whatever the cost. Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph would challenge us to trust God implicitly to accomplish his purpose in the future. Moses would challenge us to trust God through the difficulties of the present with a view of the ultimate achievement and reward in the future. There is continuous recurring truths. As witness speaks from his chair in the bleachers of Heaven's amphitheater, certain great truths are emphasized over and over and over for the benefit of those who struggle under the burden of responsibility and strive to rise up and grasp spiritual opportunities. We need to believe in faith as a way of life. Without exception, the saints of Old Testament history speak from the witness stand to declare that God is faithful and trustworthy. They would encourage us to believe that we can count on God to keep his promises. They would declare that God is honest and honorable and does not play cruel jokes upon those who trust him, either in life or in death. The way of obedience is the pathway to achievement. By faith, they obeyed God as they understood his will for their lives. There is no substitute for obedience. Kingdom progress waits upon obedient disciples. Disobedience always produces disappointment. Disobedience always causes disappointment. And obedience may bring hardship and difficulty, but it does not produce disappointment. It produces spiritual success. The way of sacrifice leads to significant achievement. Without exception, the real heroes of our faith have been men and women who have denied themselves their selfish desires and have given themselves unreservedly into the services of their God and their fellow man. You are the jury. You are the jury. Do you have faith in the witness who have borne a testimony concerning the faithfulness of God and the way to the life abundant? Will you trust your life, your time, and your energy under the services of God with whom these men walked and talked. The decision is really yours. Without faith in God, it is impossible to please Him. To distrust Him is an insult to Him. To distrust Him leaves a man or a woman to their own resources. Let your mind and your heart be convinced that God is a good God and that His way of life, though difficult and dangerous at times, is in the long run the wisest and most satisfying in life, and a life that one can live. Because of the accumulated testimony of many witnesses, and many of them are found in chapter 11, be encouraged to trust God completely and obey Him cheerfully. Amen.